UFC 310 is on Saturday at Madison Square Garden in New York. Joining me right now is the president of the UFC, Mr. Dana White. Dana, quite a press conference yesterday, but I wasn't sure if Jon Jones was fighting Tom Aspinall or Stipe Miocic. Seemed like all the questions were about Tom Aspinall at that thing.
Yeah, it's typical though. I mean, when you think about Stipe Miocic and the disrespect that this guy's been shown his entire career, he's always the underdog. He's always being overlooked. He's always, in a situation like he was in yesterday.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. What kind of fight do you expect between Jones and Miocic? And do you think? I know you are a believer in ring rust. You've said that many, many times. But do you think, given Stipe's age and the wear and tear on him, that maybe the time off might do his body good?
I was a believer in ring rust until Jon Jones walked through Cyril Gahn like it was nothing. So who knows? I mean, if you look at activity, these two have been similarly active. You know what I mean? Or unactive, or however you want to look
Inactive,
at it.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know what to think.
Yeah, interesting. Now, you made a little bit of news yesterday on the Jim Rome show. You basically shut down the idea of this Jones-Alex Pereira fight. And I want to ask you this, and you said if John, I guess the winner will fight Aspinall is basically what you said, because you're not calling the winner. So let me ask you this. Don't you think it makes John look bad saying he wants to fight not the number one contender in the heavyweight division if he wins? He wants to fight a guy who just a little over a year ago was a middleweight.
Right. Listen, Jon Jones always says and does things that might not make him look great. But anybody out there that thinks that Jon Jones is afraid of anybody is crazy. I mean, if you look at what he did in the light heavyweight division, then he moves up, takes on the number one guy who basically, if he doesn't go for the armbar in the fight with Francis, beats Francis. Right.
Right.
Yeah. It's just
I don't think he's afraid, but it's weird. There's something going on there, though.
No, it's not weird. It's classic Jon Jones. I mean, that is classic Jon Jones.
Interesting. Now, he made a comment after the press conference yesterday. You didn't see him at the press conference, but when you said, yes, the winner will face Tom Aspinall, he kind of rolls his eyes and gets a big grin on his face. And then yesterday he made a comment and he said something to the effect of, do you want another fight with me, or do you just want to be done with me totally? Like basically saying, he's not going to accept the idea of fighting Aspinall, and that you guys would eventually give in and go for a Pereira fight, which would be a big fight, monetarily.
Which, I would not, because if I say I'm going to do something, I'm not going to fucking do it. No, I didn't hear that. But again, this is classic Jon Jones. John, this is what will happen. John will fight tomorrow. And if John wins, he will disappear. You won't see him. You won't hear from him. He won't be posting on social media. He won't be doing interviews. And then he will eventually resurface and say, I'm ready to come back and I'm ready to fight Tom Aspinall. Or I'm going to retire and I'm done. I've proven everything there is to prove, and he wouldn't be wrong.
Yeah. No, I think there's no question he is the greatest of all time. But I want to ask you one final question. You've been asked it a million times, and you and I went back and forth on this a little bit about, pound for pound best right now. Do you feel like John's performance tomorrow is going to dictate? Because you said, you were upset at where Khalil Roundtree was ranked because you felt like his current performance dictated him being ranked higher. So that would suggest that what happened 10, 11, 12 years ago, when we're ranking who is best now, shouldn't factor in, right? And so shouldn't John's performance against Stipe be the biggest determinant of where he is ranked, if he's ranked at all?
Not if he wins.
Why not? Let's say he wins. So just winning, no matter what, he should be number one.
The weirdest fucking thing about this whole thing is I'm talking to guys who supposedly know about fighting, right? And when you think about this dude has never lost a fight in 16 years in mixed martial arts. What else is there to say? He's beat
He's the greatest of all time.
The all-time greats, right? Okay, then let's talk about pound for pound. He moves up to heavyweight and goes through the fucking number one guy in the world like it was nothing. And I'm telling you right now, Francis left and went to the fucking goofy PFL where he doesn't have to fucking fight anybody. So he didn't have to fight fucking Jon Jones. He is the pound for pound best fighter in the world. Because when you think about what pound for pound means, it's like, how would you do in other weight classes? Well, he fucking showed us that, right? It's undeniable. It's ridiculous that anybody who claims they know about fighting would even fucking ask that question.
Well, that's why I asked it, right? So it was me. That's why I asked.
It's not just you. It's a lot of people. It's crazy.
I am going to say this, and I don't want to get off on the tangent on this. So this is the last thing I'm going to say, and then we'll move on. I just think current performance has to factor into it, right? Jon has been the pound for pound number one, right? He has been the pound for pound number one, and I've had him ranked number one. After he beat Cyril Gane, I had him ranked number one. But let's say he wins a decision that you think, or a lot of people think, he lost to Stipe Miocic, right? Or he looks lackluster. Don't we have to consider how Alex Pereira looks and how Ilia Topuria looks and how Islam Makhachev looks before we end up, making our decision who's number one?
100%. I agree with you. And if he wins the fight, regardless of whatever, he's the number one pound for pound fighter in the world.
I will concede you if he wins and looks good. I agree with that. If he wins and looks questionable, then there's
what's if he wins and looks questionable? He's 38 fucking years old. He wins the fight. He moved up a weight class, buzzsawed through the number one guy in the world, and then beat the greatest heavyweight of all time. It doesn't even make sense what you people are fucking talking about. It's madness. If he looks like he didn't do this or that, if he fucking wins and he's still undefeated and he defended the heavyweight championship and moved up a weight class. I mean,
I think you and I are going to talk next week after we know what happened. So we're going to do this next week.
When we talk about GSP, right?
Yes.
We had the opportunity to do GSP versus Anderson Silva. GSP would never do it. We had the opportunity to make Anderson Silva versus Jon Jones. Anderson Silva would never do it, right? When you dominate a weight class like these guys do to become a legend, it is a massive risk to move up in weight.
Yeah.
This guy moved up in weight, annihilated the light heavyweight division. Youngest champ ever, annihilated, never been beat, never lost a fight. Then he moves up to heavyweight and takes on the best guy at heavyweight and buzzsaws through him. And if he beats the greatest heavyweight tomorrow night, you guys should all fucking pack it up and go fucking cover baseball or fucking ping pong or some other sport.
Maybe we'll cover slap fighting. That might be what we'll do.
There you go. Then. Slap. Come to slap. You'll all be welcome.
So we'll get Mike Tyson in slapping after yesterday's weigh-in, apparently.
Yeah.
So let's ask one last thing related to Jones. Well, not related to Jones, but just, related to the card, the gloves. Like you said yesterday at the press conference, the old gloves are back. The new gloves are now the old gloves. What did you give up on them because of the knockout rate? What was it that you decided that you didn't like about the new gloves?
No. So what happened is we invested a lot of time, energy, and money into creating these gloves. It was all about eye pokes, right? It's not about knockouts or any of that other stuff. And I don't listen to all this bullshit where they're saying statistics say that fucking, we have less knockouts on eye pokes. The eye pokes, it didn't stop the eye pokes. Fighters don't like the gloves. They're complaining about the gloves, the way they fit, this, that. We gave it a shot. And we're going to go back to the old ones. I guess we were trying to be proactive and create a glove that would stop eye pokes. But I guess when you have fingerless gloves, you're probably not going to stop fucking eye pokes.
Did anybody send you Demetrius Johnson's video that he did on? He had 5 or 6 sets of gloves. He had the new UFC gloves, the old gloves, and then he had from a bunch of different organizations. And he had a pair of gloves that Matt Hume had designed. Have you ever seen those? And are those ones that you would consider? Because Demetrius himself was saying he felt like those gloves would be, tend to poke less.
I've never seen them, but I'll check them out now that you said it.
I will send you the video that he did. He did it on his YouTube channel, and it was a good video. So that, that might be something you would want to take a look at, because he kind of went through the gloves and what the pros and cons of the gloves were, and he rated them. So yeah, you might want to look at that and see what's going on there.
Okay.
Couple things just to go off of. I wanted and didn't get a chance to talk to you last week, and a guy that I think is going to be in the pound for pound list someday based on what he is doing now is Carlos Prates. And I mean, I'm blown away by this dude, right? And I would love to see him fight Michael Morales now, but knocking out Neil Magny and doing what he did. I haven't heard what you have to say about Carlos Prates. What was your take on Prates' performance last week?
Yeah, it's funny that you asked me that, because there was a lot of talk in the office about him this week, especially on Tuesday. And we were literally looking to do something big with him like right now, but he broke his foot. So his foot is,
in the fight?
No, before the fight, apparently. He said he went in there with a broken foot.
Oh my God.
Didn't give a shit, was still willing to fight. We're like, get your foot fixed. There's going to be plenty of time to fight this year or whatever. But yeah, we think very highly of him, and we were talking to him this week.
Oh boy, that is incredible. I think the whole Fighting Nerds team, Caio Barallo is really amazing. And you got Mauricio Ruffi fighting on this card. And he had an unbelievable win over Jamie Malarkey fighting James Luntop. First of all, why is that fight 165 pounder? What happened? Because you changed it yesterday on Thursday. Why did you make that a 165 pound fight as opposed to a 55 pound fight?
Oh shit. I don't even know. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
something must have happened, and the boys must have. Who got him? Sean? Yeah. You'd have to ask Sean.
Okay. All righty. Couple other things, and we'll let you roll. UFC 310 main event. Bilal Muhammad is out. Do you have any news on what we can expect in the main event there?
I do. I'll be announcing it in the next couple hours.
Okay. Another title fight on the card. Can you give us a hint?
No, not a title fight.
Okay, not a title fight. So that's going to be interesting. Boy, that'll be fun to see. All right. Speaking of title fights, Khamzat Chimaev, I know he has some personal issues going on, but I was blown away. You know me, I'm one of the biggest Khamzat Chimaev fans out there. When he first showed up, you should tell everybody how often I was texting you about Chimaev and those early days.
Sure.
But did he do enough in that fight against Robert Whitaker, who I thought looked incredible, to get the title fight against Dricus?
Yeah, he looked incredible. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. He is deserving of a title shot.
So, is he able to fight? And are you actively trying to make a fight with him and Dricus now?
We haven't done anything yet. Okay. I have no information on that one.
Okay, all right, sounds pretty good. What about information? I think there's two other topics I want to cover. UFC 311. There's been some, I expect it to be in January with Makhachev and Sarukian. Any progress made on getting that date firmed up?
Not yet. You know how it is, Kevin. If we had it done, we would have announced it.
What's the issue with that one, though?
Nothing. No issues.
No issue. Okay.
Okay.
Nope. Finally, you announced a partnership yesterday with IBM for with AI. You've been talking about the rankings and everything. From a fan standpoint, what can the fans see out of this partnership, and what will that do?
Yeah, I'm talking to all the guys. Obviously we did a deal with these guys. It would be great to do something with them. I'm also talking to Meta. So we should have that nailed down within the next month.
So is that going to be, am I understanding that that's going to be about the rankings then?
No, it's not.
No, okay.
We're just doing a sponsorship deal with them. The plus is they have great AI, and we could do the rankings with them. So does Meta. And we could do the rankings with them too.
Dana, when you look at the rankings, right, like I understand, you could do it on paper and say you get 5 points for a finish and however you want to do it. But isn't there a human element that whoever, you got to pick the right people, but a human element has to be in there. A machine can't really pick that, right?
Do both. You have two sets of rankings. You do one human and one AI.
Mm-hmm. And do you then merge them and that's your final ranking, or do you just run them concurrently?
Run them concurrently.
Interesting. Very good. All right, Dana. Well, we appreciate you. I'm going to check with you next week, and when if Jones wins, we'll have a little discussion on what goes on with is he number one or is he number two or whatever he is.
I'm in.
Appreciate it. Dana
Thanks,
White,
buddy.
President UFC 309 Saturday night at Madison Square Garden on ESPN Plus pay-per-view. Thanks, Dana. Appreciate you.
Likewise. See you, buddy.
See you, brother.
Bye.